Shalom, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to the new people. Very nice. Baruch Hashem. Very inspired that new people are coming. And Bezat Hashem, that's a sign that there's hope. That's the sign that I think Rabbi Nachman wants me to continue learning this lesson. That's one of the big signs that more and more people are interested in this topic. Okay. What we're going to do today is we are going to go into Rav Noson's prayer on the lesson. What we've been doing until now is Likutey Moharan, section number 8. How we learn this lesson is after we do a paragraph in the Likutey Moharan, we go afterwards to do the corresponding section in Rav Noson's prayer on that paragraph. Why do we do that? In the prayer, believe it or not, is to be found the deepest keys to understanding Likutey Moharan. This is one of the biggest insights of Rabbi Nachman, is that you can come to understanding through prayer. He himself did that. You can see in Rabbi Nachman's wisdom about the part called Shivchei Hara, his praises, that Rabbi Nachman said about himself that when he was young, he couldn't even learn a Mishnah, he couldn't even learn Gemara and Zohar and Kabbalah, and he said he was able to break down the doors of understanding through crying and asking Hashem to open up his mind to understanding. And he says that to teach people this amazing derech, that even if you feel you have a thick head, you're not smart, there are the people who you know who are like such geniuses, like they understand Gemara like that, they're so intellectual, and you say it's not fair, just because he's born with a brain, just because what's his name, Zuckerberg, what's his name, Facebook, just because he has a brain and he can, and that means he counts, and me, I'm chopped liver, just like because I can clean the toilet, and he knows how to open Facebook, so I don't count. So Rabbeinu comes and shows a derech for every person in the world to reach the highest levels. Through what? Prayer. Prayer, you can be Mark Zuckerberg, you can be the Gadol Hador. I don't know why I pick him as an example, I don't know why, but still. You can be anybody, and with prayer, you can open the doors for everything else. This is what Rabbeinu is teaching. They say, and Rabbi Nachman says that's how he came to his level. You know, it's amazing. Normally, tzaddikim, they don't tell you about their setbacks in life. And here Rabbi Nachman, he tells us that when he was young, he couldn't understand the Mishnah. Isn't it embarrassing for a rabbi to say, I couldn't understand Mishnayot? What are you telling people that he couldn't understand Mishnayot? Because he wants to show people that even him, who couldn't understand, who he started off in the wrong footing, he was able through prayer to come to what he came to. Understanding Mishnayot and even beyond. He said afterwards with Gemara, with Zohar and Kabbalah, everything became opened through a lot of davening and asking Hashem to open up his mind to understanding. So with that said, Likutey Tefilot is phenomenal. Rav Noson wrote these prayers because Rabbi Nachman indicated to do it, number one. And Rav Noson saw that this way of re-explaining a lesson in prayer format, Rabbi Nachman himself said that, is something unbelievable. It's possibly the highest level of Hitbodedut. The highest level of Hitbodedut is where you turn lessons into prayers. The wording of Rabbi Nachman and the Likutey Moharan is that it comes before Hashem such sha'ashuim, such delight that has never come before him, not even with the daily prayers, not even with Tehillim. Even though Tehillim is a format of turning Torah lessons into prayers, because what's Tehillim? You probably heard this many times. There's 5 books of Tehillim. Why? They correspond to the 5 books of the Chumash. And King David wrote each book praying to fulfill what's in each book of the Chumash. So the book 1 of Tehillim is on Genesis, Bereshit. Book 2 is Shemot. Book 3, Vayikra. 4, Bamidbar. And all the davenings of King David, they save me from my enemies, save me and save me. It's not just the physical enemies, but the spiritual enemies who are preventing him from serving Hashem and fulfilling what's in that corresponding book of the Torah. So you see, Rav Nosson brings this down clear, that Tehillim is the first book of Torah lessons on prayer, prayers on Torah lessons, King David's prayers and the other tzaddikim who wrote Tehillim on the Chumash. And the other book we have in Jewish history is Likutey Moharan and Rav Nosson's Likutey Tefilot. There's no other books like that. So these prayers, Rav Nosson said about themselves, people, because of the opponents to Breslov, they began to make fun of these prayers when Rav Nosson printed them. And they began to say, who does he think he is? The Arizal said that today people who write prayers don't possess Ruach HaKodesh. So Rav Nosson was once crying by Rabbi Nachman's kever because of the pressure of the opposition about this point. And when he finished davening, he said to his close disciple, Nachman Tutchener, he said, they say these prayers don't have Ruach HaKodesh. They say that the opponents, they say his prayers lack Ruach HaKodesh, because the Arizal said that almost all prayers written today lack Ruach HaKodesh. People, the authors of prayers today, they don't possess Ruach HaKodesh. So Rav Nosson says they don't possess Ruach HaKodesh. They're above Ruach HaKodesh because they come from the 50th level, the 50th gate. That's why in English it's called, why is it called 50th gate? Because Rav Nosson said his prayers emanate from the 50th gate. How could he say that? Because Rav Nosson is absolute humility. He's saying, I'm a nobody. But because I'm a nobody, like a midget, and I'm standing on top of a giant, because of that I'm a somebody. I myself am a midget. But because I'm standing on a giant, on Rabbi Nachman, so my activity is way above the norm. It's way above the norm, and it soars way above. So he's able to say his prayers, which are based on Rabbi Nachman's Likutey Moharan, and he's writing them with total nullification to the lesson, to Rabbi Nachman and the lesson, with total emunah. So came forth these powerful prayers that he said himself, they emanate from the 50th level. Proof to that is that anybody opens these prayers, they can find themselves in them. That's how powerful they are. You don't have to look. You can open anywhere in Rav Nosson's prayers, and he's explaining exactly what you're going through in life. Tehillim, Rabbi Nachman said the same thing, but in Tehillim, you have to understand what you're reading. You have to find yourself in the words of King David. You have to find. And I heard from a Breslov elder, Rav Michael Dorfman, he says, by Rav Nosson's prayer, you don't have to find. You just open, you start reading, here you are. You don't have to find. You're right over here. That's why these prayers, Rav Nosson said, for every day that we don't say them, for people who know about Breslov, who know better, and don't say them, you're going to have to give a din v'cheshbon. You're going to give an accounting for every day you didn't say these prayers. That's why we just started recently a WhatsApp group that every day you say the prayers, you make a check as an incentive for people to make sure they say the prayers. You learned the Likutey Moharan, you didn't? Okay. You learned Breslov books? Okay. The prayers, though, have to be every day. Even on Shabbat. Rav Nosson told his son, Rav Yitzchak, to say the prayers on Shabbat. And Rav Yitzchak said to his father, but how about the places where you say, and I've sinned, and I sinned, and so he said, skip the transgression and iniquities, but the rest, you're not to ask. The Baal HaTanya says on Shabbat, normally you're not to ask personal requests on Shabbat. If you daven like at the end of your Shmoneh Esrei every day, and you add additional requests on Shabbat, you're not allowed to. But the Baal HaTanya says spiritual requests you're allowed to on Shabbat.
Why are you not allowed to?
Because Shabbat is a day. It's in the halacha discussed that because Shabbat is reserved as a delight of the world to come, so the physical needs and necessities are put aside. Today, that's one of the reasons. To tell you the truth, I have to look into it to remember. I learned it many times. You forget these things. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not a computer. I'm not a chat AI. I'm not AI. I'm not AI. I'm oivai. Oivai. Not AI. Oivai. Okay. Many reasons are brought down that you're not allowed to ask personal requests, like physical requests. Spiritual, the Baal HaTanya says, go all the way. Go all the way on Shabbat. Ask, let me come closer to Hashem. Let me do the mitzvot b'simcha. Let me eat the gefilte fish with simcha. Let me okay. So this is every day, Likutey Tefilot. And these prayers, now what's amazing is they're written with such a high level of divine inspiration, even above Ruach HaKodesh, that these prayers, if you say them over and over again, number one, your mind begins to get opened. And number two, you see how Rav Nosson is explaining the Likutey Moharan. Now this paragraph where we're holding now, which is more or less corresponding to Likutey Moharan, lesson 24, paragraph 8, it's very powerful, it's very deep. And another thing, when Rav Nosson, in his prayers or anywhere, he quotes a verse, he borrows from a verse from Tehillim, it's not just superficial, he's just taking, for poetic reasons, he's taking this verse. It's so much deeper. If you look into the verse, you begin to see that the verse itself is explaining the lesson. It's part of the lesson. So in this paragraph we're holding now, I know you guys are coming in the middle of a lesson. I'll do my best to explain the lesson itself and then to show how Rav Nosson is explaining the lesson. But this paragraph specifically opens up new understanding, new points that weren't mentioned explicitly by Rabbi Nachman in the lesson. And here Rav Nosson indicates to them, he hints to them, and he brings them forth. And what comes out is like another handle to activate the ideas of this lesson. And just the beauty that comes by how Rav Nosson does this, it's unbelievable. Sometimes you can feel you're living your free will. Sometimes, because it goes so penetrating into you, into what you're going through, and you can relate to what he's saying, that you feel, B'ezrat Hashem, this is not like you like, I'm losing it. I'm not here anymore. That's how powerful these prayers are. He said once, Rav Nosson, that there are already several people who merited to enter Gan Eden through saying these prayers. People who were so far, but they started saying these prayers and they passed away. And he said, Rav Nosson, I guess he knew, there are people already in Gan Eden because of these prayers. That's why these prayers are very powerful. And we tell people, you want to learn Likutey Moharan? Don't forget, don't get carried away as an intellectual study, because that's not the goal. The goal of Likutey Moharan is to bring it to the hands, to the action. And the only way to bridge that is through a lot of davening, a lot of hitbodedut, a lot of prayer. So Rav Nosson, by the way, he says this format of turning Torah lessons into prayers is one of the greatest levels of hitbodedut. Is the greatest. The greatest level of hitbodedut. There's many ways to do hitbodedut. There's a book in English by Ozer Bergman. It's called Where Earth and Heaven Kiss. I don't know if you've seen it before. He brings about 50 ways how to do hitbodedut. And he's someone who's been doing hitbodedut straight, an hour a day, for over 30, 40 years. Maybe now 50 years now. When he wrote the book, it was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So then he wrote in the book 30 years, he's doing hitbodedut an hour a day. So now it's probably 50 years. And he wrote the book, all these, and he's very funny. It's written in English, and he has tons of jokes, and only an American, English, Western minded person can get the jokes because they're in English. You can't translate the book to Hebrew.
He learns from the best.
What? You learn from the best, yeah. So, in the book, he says one of the greatest formats of hitbodedut is that when you're learning a lesson in the Likutey Moharan, and then you're doing hitbodedut on it, because then your heart is open. You're talking about a lesson that's sensitive to you. You're learning it because you want to come to the ideas, so it bothers you, and it touches upon very soft spots in your life. And when you daven about it, so then you're talking to Hashem from that point which hurts. You're really expressing from the sensitive spot, and when you do that, that's what opens for Hashem everything. Because the verse says, Lev nishbar v'nitkeh, Elokim lo tivzeh. A broken heart, a broken lev nishbar, and like a submitted heart, Hashem doesn't insult, Hashem doesn't turn it down. Now when a person talks to Hashem from really a painful place, and we're going to see another stage in doing that, from such a painful place and expressing words from that place, this opens normally all the doors. Okay, all the doors in life.
I've always been confused with the difference between a broken heart and actually just being sad. Like,
it's a fine line. Rabbi Nachman says that. He says, what's the difference between brokenheartedness and sadness and depression? Is that brokenheartedness is like a little child who wants something, and he's nudging his dad, I want that. He starts crying, I want that, Hashem, I want. And sadness, this person says, you don't give it to me, so I don't want to talk to you, and I deserve. It's like coming out of haughtiness. Depression and sadness is a result of haughtiness, that a person feels he deserves. What you did to me, Hashem? You ruined my life. I did everything, and this and that, and now everything's just messed up, and I'm upset now, I don't want to do anything now. Yeah, who are you? You woke up in the morning, say thank you. Who are you? No, but how come my other friends yes and me no? But who are you? Right. Why are you looking at them? You don't know who they are. Who are you? The person thinks, but I did this, I did that. And Hashem says, yeah, I gave you everything to do what you're doing. You don't remember that? And the person out of haughtiness gets depressed. He feels, what are you haughty about? You didn't deserve anything in the first place. That's the idea, basically. And a broken heart is that like a little child who just wants something. He wants, I want this. He's not like, he doesn't give up. He's broken. Hashem, I just want so much to be a good Jew. I just want to come close to you. That's all I want, Hashem. That's all I want. It's expressing the ratzon. We're going to go into this, hopefully. Let's see how far we get into the prayer. Because this prayer, it's so deep, so many points, that I didn't get to finish everything in it. I wanted to cover ground in preparing the class. I only got halfway. So this might have two classes just on this one paragraph from the prayer.
Really dig into each of these.
B'ezrat Hashem. All right. So we're holding where we left off from the last time we did the prayers. We're in the section where Rav Nosson is going into the concept of what's called the Keter, the crown. The Keter is activated when a person joins intellect with emunah, meaning that even though Hashem is opening his mind, he reminds himself, don't think you know everything. Remember that above everything, there's what you don't know. And in fact, the goal of knowing is to know how much you don't know. And that's always, at every level, there's knowing and then there's not knowing. Hashem opens your eyes to a new level of depth and understanding in life, and then you just realize how much more you don't know. You revealed a new level, only to discover that you've now covered up another million levels. You went up a level, and now you realize how much more you don't know. You know more, okay, you advanced, but that knowing more opens you up like you just opened the door to another long room. You just spent 20 years trying to finish this room to get to the door at the end of the room, at the hall. And then finally opened the door to see another hall, another giant room. What? I worked 20 years to get here, and I opened the door and I see there's another level. Oh my God. And it doesn't end. And it doesn't break you. Just, wow. You went up a level, you went up in perspective, and you're just appreciative, you're full of light, and it shows you that how much more is out there that you don't know. So always emunah is the goal. Always. Based on that every time you know, there's always a not knowing afterwards. And then after the not knowing, there's a knowing, and then after there's a not knowing, and that's the process. And you keep on advancing and advancing. And that's why older people, they have a deeper perspective of life than younger people, because they've gone through so much knowing and not knowing, knowing and not knowing. Now, especially if you implement this thing of hitbodedut and davening and learning. That's how life is. Torah study and davening, emunah. Torah study, davening, emunah. So for sure you advance and advance and advance. This is something unbelievable. It's something very unique to Rabbi Nachman's teachings. The world doesn't appreciate it that much. The Torah world, they don't really, everything's into learning, and davening. He says that, Rav Nosson, in one place, that everybody likes Rachel, but nobody likes Leah. Leah, the Torah says her eyes were watery because she was always crying, right? And Rachel, Yaakov wanted Rachel. But Leah, Leah, her eyes were watery because she thought she was going to go to Esav. So Rav Nosson says Leah corresponds to prayer, because that's why her eyes were watering. She was davening, please Hashem. In the end, she won. In the end, she had how many children? Almost half of the 12 tribes. How many did she have? Bilhah, Zilpah, 2. That's 4. Okay, 4. And 6. She had 6 children. She had Yehuda, right? Yisachar. Sorry, she had Yehuda, Shimon, Levi, and then 2 more. She had 6. So it's 3 more. I'm sorry. She had Levi. Okay, I'm trying to remember which one she had. Okay, Bilhah and Zilpah. They had Gad, Asher. Asher, I think, is also Leah. Okay, she had 6 of the 12 tribes, and she was crying all the time. In the end, she got more. And Rachel, his whole thing to marry was to marry Rachel. So Rav Nosson says Rachel corresponds to the Torah. Because why? What's a Rachel? Rachel in Hebrew is what? A sheep. Rachel. Rechelim. Okay? A sheep in Judaism, every part of the animal is useful. From the hair you make wool, you make clothing. From the veins you can make strings for musical instruments. Then you have the meat, the bones you can make drums. Every part of the sheep is useful. Okay? So too, the Torah has many parts, and the Torah has so many parts, and every part is amazing. Okay? So people are impressed with Torah study. Wow, he's a Gaon, he's a Rosh Hashiva, he finished Shas, he's like a big Rav, and he's a Dayan, and he knows everything, and he knows all the Arizal, and all the Shulchan Aruch, and everything. Everybody in the world is impressed by the Torah. Davening, davening, okay. It's like on the side.
It's true.
Okay, so Yaakov represents the written Torah. Rachel is the oral Torah. The oral Torah doesn't end. There's so much in the oral Torah. So he thought, what's Shlemut? What's completion? To join the written Torah directly with the oral Torah. But Hashem switched it. Hashem, the came from Hashem. It wasn't Lavan. Lavan was just an instrument for this to happen. But Hashem was trying to teach Yaakov, you want to get to Rachel? You want to get to the oral Torah? It has to come through prayer. So Hashem made Yaakov marry first Leah, which is prayer. She's crying and all that. And afterwards to marry Rachel. And Dafka, the majority of the children come from Leah, like we said. Okay? To show you that productivity in world is mainly through davening. It's not Hashem to put down Torah study, but don't put down davening. We're not putting down Torah study, but you don't put down davening. Okay, it's both emphasis. As much as you emphasize your Torah study, emphasize your davening. Most people, they don't have davening because by them, Shachrit Mincha Marav is lip service, blah 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 blah, and they don't even. They spend, some people 20, 30, 50 years not even once talking to Hashem, because they think, I talk to Hashem every day. I say Shachrit Mincha Marav, yeah, but they're not there. They're just saying the words. They try to connect, but we know already how hard it is to daven. We know that it's not easy.
I don't understand how people live their life like that.
Me too. Because when you taste such a light of Breslov, you begin to wonder, how could people live without this? How could someone live without these teachings? Once you uncover the light Rabbi Nachman is trying to show us about the pathway of davening, he said himself in Yiddish, Gor mein Zach is tefillah. My whole thing is to teach people how to daven. My whole thing
Really, he said
is
that?
daven. Yeah, he said two things. Gor mein Zach is tefillah. Gor mein Zach is Rosh Hashanah. He said my whole thing is davening. My whole thing is Rosh Hashanah.
Wow. Like, how
Okay?
can you really say you have a relationship with Hashem without speaking to Him?
Okay? You see, we're little nobodies, and our eyes have been opened to such great things. And you have people, we don't even get to their shoes, to their heels, and they don't see what we see. What in the world is this? Am I wrong? I'm the one who's wrong? And he, Mr. Rosh Hashiva, Gadol Ador, he doesn't know these big things? What in the world is going on, man? What is going on? It's a pele. It's a pele. It's a wonder. It's like, you can't understand it. That the little people, little pictures like us, we have access to the greatest things in the universe, and other people have it all, and they don't see this light.
Right.
Because when you're in darkness, you can see light. But when you're in light, you can't see what's in the darkness. Okay, it's a pasuk. It's a pasuk. I don't know if he brings it down here, but when a person is in the darkness, he can see what's in the light. When a person's in the light, he can't see what's in the darkness.
Wow.
Okay, let's try to start this prayer.
Good one.
Okay, so we're in the middle, like you said, of this section where Rabbi Nachman is explaining on the concept of the Keter. Our last class on this prayer was we did the initial opening part that Rabbi Nachman goes into the Keter. Lesson 24 has 3 or about 4 sections. The first section talks about doing mitzvot with joy. The second section is the transition from doing mitzvot with joy, what it leads to. Step by step, it activates awakening in the world. The world is aroused to come back to Hashem. Then after that activates bracha. And after that, if you activate bracha, be smart, make the wise choice. Don't activate bracha for physical blessings. Rather, activate the bracha for the blessing of the intellect, to understand Hashem. But be careful, once you activate that, you have to join it with emunah. That was the middle section. The third section of the lesson, the Likutey Moharan, is that when you activate the blessing of the intellect, when you get it activated and you join emunah, this combo activates a thing called the Keter. And the Keter is the inner blessing of the mind. What it does is it prepares the mind to receive light, to receive infinite light. But the way the Keter works is that it has to push a person back. It has to stop a person and to make him freeze and to sit down and wait. Because if he keeps on going forward, he'll disintegrate and melt into the infinite light, because it's two opposites. A human being is finite and the infinite light is infinite. It's two opposites. They can't merge. If the finite existence, creature, species merges with the infinite, he becomes infinite. That's it. Hashem doesn't want that. Hashem wants, while in a physical limitation of a body, to yet still perceive the infinite light. How does it happen? So this is the process in section 3 of the lesson, that this is what's called the bounce back. And he's now going to go into this idea of the bounce. He initially says it requires waiting in order to settle the mind. The mind has to be settled. Why? Because when a person is on an advance, he's running forward, so his mind is not settled. When you're jogging, you're busy jogging. You're riding a bike, you're going forward, okay? So you don't have time to process everything you've absorbed until now. You're just absorbing. I'm advancing another kilometer, another kilometer, another kilometer, but you don't have time to settle and organize what you've absorbed. So you need a break. The break allows for the mind to now settle all the information that it's absorbed, to put it in the right place, and then to make a complete picture. Once this is done, this puzzle is done, it now becomes a vessel to receive the infinite light. That's what he's going to talk about now in this section of the prayer. Okay? So he says like this. This, believe it or not, is such a psychological therapy, this lesson, because it shows that most people, especially people who are addicted, let's say, to internet or other things, where people are just like nervous and like, I gotta take a smoke, I gotta take a cigarette, I gotta take a drink, I gotta eat something, I gotta watch this. Especially people who have internet, like okay, let's see if there's any messages. People with addictions, let's say, they're like running. I have to do. And in this lesson, he's saying, no, the Keter is to train you to stop. It's crazy, but it's like a forcing of the stop in order to get you to the true goal, which is to have light and clarity in your life. So this is a real therapy, this lesson. That's why it's so big. And it's all due to being besimcha. If now you work on being besimcha, so this can lead to this activation of the Keter. And once the Keter is activated, it helps you to take it easy. What's a greater accomplishment in life? To run and to do a lot, or to be settled, even though you're doing less, but I have a clear perspective of life, and I feel contentment, and I feel amazing, and I feel clarity. What's a greater accomplishment? Right. But the attitude we're taught in life is there's not enough time in this world. Soon we'll have the Har Zaitim. Soon there's going to be the Keter. So I have to amass as much Torah and mitzvot as possible because I don't know when I'm getting off the train. Okay? So on one hand, you have to do a lot. But on the other hand, the goal is after everything you've amassed and gathered, okay, now what do you do for this? The goal of all that you amassed, all the mitzvot, all the davening, all the learning, all the things you did in your life is now to enhance your awareness of Hashem in your life. That's the goal. But now you're too busy amassing. So the goal is, yes, that you have to take a break and perceive. And now, with everything you absorbed in your life, that it should enhance your perception of Hashem in your life. That's the whole goal. Okay? So we see that as the goal, Bezat Hashem. And again, the Keter does that. It helps you to settle. And again, this is what we see people who are addiction, everything. They're like nervous and this and running around. And that's how society is like, more money, go to work, do this, go, and take a break. Take a break, man. Okay? That's what the Keter does. And that's why this lesson is so therapeutic. It's such a therapy for helping people to learn how to accept this setback as a reminder from Hashem that you have to take it easy right now. But I have to go. Take it easy. Stop. But why? Because you have to settle what's inside of you. You're not settled. You're not putting the pieces of the puzzle in the right place. Okay? So here we are. Now, this is going to be pretty deep, pretty powerful, but really you can relate to what he's saying here. So we're holding in the paragraph where in English, I think says, and do with me wonders. There's something like that.
Yeah, work amazing wonders.
Okay, so now I'm going to be reading the Hebrew, and the translation may be a bit different than what you see in the page, and also I'm going to explain much more, depth. I wish you had the Hebrew text with me so you can see it in Hebrew, because then you can follow with me, but I'll be reading out loud, and then we can understand the ideas together, because there's more details that come out in the Hebrew. V'ta'aseh imi niflaot. And Hashem, do with me, make with me wonders. Wonders, the word is niflaot. The root word of niflaot is pele. The word pele, Rabbi Nachman already opened up earlier. Pele is the term used for accessing the infinite light. Because pele means something which is beyond you. Pele, nifla. When we say wonders, what is a wonder? A wonder is beyond your capacity. When you have a wonder happening to you, something wondrous, it's like totally beyond your capacity, beyond what you can reach, sometimes even beyond your expectation. It was something so wondrous, it was beyond anything. So Rav Nosson saying, Hashem, do with me wonders. You would ask, why do I need that? Why can't I just deal and be happy with my portion and with what's accessible? Why do I have to ask Hashem to do with me wonders? So it comes out of the lesson that the way Hashem designed the world is that you're going to be put in such crazy situations in life that whatever you try to solve the solution, to solve the situation, to find a solution, will be beyond your reach. You will say, Hashem, I give up. I don't know what to do. There will be situations in life where you feel you have no idea what to do. You'll be frustrated and you will feel chas v'shalom, futility. Like, I'm just wasting my life, wasting my time. I've tried everything, Hashem. I don't know what to do. Hashem purposely designs life for such situations so that you should attempt to tap into Hashem's wonders. Hashem wants His wonders to be accessed in the world, because this is the greatest way Hashem's presence is made known in the world, is that wonders from beyond creation come into this world, making Hashem's presence known in the world. The greatest way that Hashem is made known in the world is when the wonders come in. What's a wonder? It's beyond reasoning. It's not just like an open miracle. It's more than that. It's like whatever, like the Purim story. The Purim miracle was supernatural, and yet Hashem's not mentioned once in the Megillah. And all the miracles of Purim are like timing. Haman came in at the right time. The king couldn't sleep. All these things that are crazy, like, you know, like natural incidents. And from that came the Purim miracle. You don't see like the splitting of the Red Sea. You don't see like plague came and just killed everyone on the night before. You don't see that in the Purim story. You see everything is just hashgacha prati, divine providence. The timing. The king couldn't sleep. Open up the book. I can't sleep. What? Let me see. Maybe I did something to somebody and I didn't pay them back, and that's why they upset at me. And nobody cares about me, like Rashi says on the Megillah. And then he saw Mordechai did this favor, saving his life, and he said, "What was given to Mordechai? Nothing." And then as soon as he asked that question to the sons of Haman, it was the sons of Haman who had to say, they were like the ones guarding the king at the time. At that time, their father Haman came in. He said, "Mi b'chatzer," was there? Haman. All that, the coordination of all things happening is mamash a wonder. It's a pele, and it's within nature, and that's what Hashem wants. Like wondrous miracles, how the poor miracle happened. Okay, so we need it in life. We need plaim pele. We need pele to be activated in a life, and that's crazy because the only way to make it in life is through supernatural wonders. If you don't have wonders, like the Gemara says, a person, if you only knew like a 1,000th or 10,000th of the miracles Hashem does from every day, you know, person will be non-stop thanking Hashem. You have no idea how many miracles are happening to you every split second. Not just a second, but like a 10th of a second, a 20th of a second. You have no idea how many miracles. The Mefarshim say that if a Jew knew how many miracles were happening, he would just like melt. He would faint from being overwhelmed. Okay? So there are miracles happening, and we need them. So because of that, Rav Nosson saying, do for me wonders. Because the only way for me, that person, for example, has difficulties in life and it's a killer. If it's like for health issues, all doctors say it's over, there's no hope. Or if it's like a shalom bayit issue, that this couple, there's no hope for them. If it's a child off the path, and I don't know what's gonna wake him up. I've done everything Hashem. I tried to give him good education. I davened for him. I did all these things. I don't know what to do anymore. If it's parnasa, if it's whatever, anything. Also, a person wants to break his bad midot. Hashem, I'm never gonna lose weight. I'm never gonna break my desire for eating. It's impossible. There's 20, 30, 40, 50 years that I'm eating like I'm eating. It's not gonna happen. Whatever. Person who's addicted to smoking and he's trying to get off. Whatever. All these things a person says, I've done everything, and I need a wonder. I need a wonder. I say, so she's asking, and then he says, pil'ei pelaot. Not just wonders, but look at this term, wonders of wonders. What does that mean, wonders of wonders? What does it mean, pil'ei pelaot? Wonders of wonders. Number one, it indicates that in life, you're going to need tons of wonders of life. You're gonna need there's endless wonders, one after the next. Wonders of wonders. Okay? That's so number one. It indicates that it's not over. Another wonder, another wonder. More than that, when Hashem does a wonder for you, it opens up the door for another one, which is built on the preceding one. Hashem, it wasn't enough that wonder, an even more amazing wonder takes place in my life. That's called Pilei Pilaot. So also, to give you the attitude, don't say, oh, Hashem did already enough for me. I'll just maybe calm down and keep quiet and, won't ask for anything more. Hashem already did me miracles. Let me just suffer the rest of my life because he did so much good. He's saying, don't be ashamed. You need another miracle? Ask Hashem for it. Don't say, but Hashem, you already did so much for me. Why do I need more? Pilei Plaot. So it's many interpretations, Pilei Plaot. Wonders of wonders. Vetoshieni. And Hashem save me. Utzakeni. And let me have the merit. Two things. Save me and let me merit. Because a person needs to be saved from the falsehood of this world to do the following, what he's going to say. And you also need a merit to be able to be saved and to have a merit to come to do it. That what? Shetirdof machashavti tamid lahasig ha'or ha'ein sof. That my mind should race and run always to perceive the infinite light. He teaches in this lesson that a Jew has to be in this state. You have to be running to grasp that which is beyond you. In order to get somewhere in life, you need that the bulldozer has to be able to be super duper big. Even though I need just this much in my life, to get to that much in life, you need a bulldozer that can pull out this much. In order to get someone out of a pit of darkness, and even though the salvation, the help is a tiny amount that's needed, that's necessary, and it's enough, to activate that, you need a strong bulldozer to pull out. So he's saying that in life, a Jew should always be running for the maximum. This idea appears a lot in Rabbi Nachman's teachings. He says, for example, in lesson number 30, don't say, why do I have to look for the biggest tzaddikim? Let me just deal with my local rabbi. Let me try to emulate my local rabbi, my local teacher. Why drive me nuts? No, look for the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation. Look for the tzaddik of the generation. Look for the best. Why? Let me deal with what I have. So he says, Rabbi Nachman, when a person is sick a little bit, he goes to a regular doctor. When you're really sick, you go to the specialist. So too, the more you realize how much you're in danger in life, how much you need hope, you don't go to a regular rabbi. You say, I need the biggest tzaddik who can even help me. If you're not going to be able to help me, I'm not interested. I don't want now, okay, do this, do that. I need the maximum. There was a Breslover in Poland. His name was, I'm trying to remember his name. It'll come to me, B'ezrat Hashem. The name will come to me. He came from another Hasidic group, and he got interested in Breslov. Here, Benzion Apter. That was his name, Benzion Apter. His real last name was Arbitzman, but they called him Apter in Yiddish. I don't know why. Benzion Apter, he came from, his father was from a different Hasidic group, and he felt very empty. He was, as a teenager, he was really trying to daven, he was really trying to connect to Hashem, but he felt so futile and frustrated, and that feeling of, no value. There's a word in English, I always forget what that word is.
Worthless?
But there's a better word than worthless. He felt, maybe futility is the best word, futility. He felt futility. And he told his father, and his father said, why can't you be like the other boys? Why do you have to have these problems? Be like everybody else, just shut up and be okay. Why? But he said, it bothers me, Abba. So the father didn't know what to do. The father took him to his Rebbe. He brought him to his Rebbe. So the Rebbe also said, what's bothering you? He says, I don't feel connection in davening. I feel far from Hashem. I really want to become a better Jew. So he said, the Rebbe also said, why can't you be like everybody else? He says, I don't know. What do you want from me? I want to. So the Rebbe says, okay, I'll give you a book, and this book will for sure help you. He gave him the book, Noam Elimelech, from Rabbi Elimelech of Lizhetsk. So he read it, and he came back to Rebbe and said, I still feel unaccomplished. It's a big book for tzaddikim, but I feel, it doesn't relate to me. It's like, this is for tzaddikim. So the Rebbe says, why are you making it so hard? said, well, I don't know. So I'll give you another book. This book for sure will work. He gave him Tanya from Lubavitch. He gave him Sefer Tanya. And he finished the whole book. He said, I still feel empty. He said, oh, come on. Shape up. It should be enough for you. He said, I have one more book. If this book doesn't help, I don't know what can help you. And he gave him Likutey Moharan. And he said, Likutey Moharan, that's what got them. He said, that's what got them. That's what got them. Okay? He said, now, as someone is talking to me, where I am, as low as I am, and giving me advice and handles how to connect from where I'm holding in my life, from this low place, this low point. Okay? So, the idea is that the more you realize how far you are, the more you have to aim for the highest of levels. You can't satisfy yourself, okay, let me just try to be like everybody else, to go to shul like everybody else, and daven in the morning, and then drink my coffee, and have my donut, and go to work, and that's it, and go home, and eat supper, and go to sleep, and then, regular routine, let me be like everybody else, Or you can say, but I feel so far from Hashem, so blemished, so upside down. I can't handle status quo. It's not enough for me. I'm so sick. And because of that, I need to aim for the highest level. So Rav Nosson saying that you need a lot of miracles to wake up, to realize that you have to pursue the highest level, which is called pursuing the infinite light. Who will pursue the infinite light? Someone who feels, again, such darkness in his situation, and he feels like he's tried everything. So Rav Nachman says there's one thing that can help you for sure. That's accessing the infinite light. What's accessing the infinite light? It's shining to your life clarity, so you see clearly what to do, and also sends you openings in life to confront and overcome the challenges of life that you feel are like unbearable. They don't know what to do. Accessing the infinite light. So he's saying, Rav Nosson, save me and let me have the zchut, the merit, that my mind should always be running for the highest levels. Not to let that down. Not to try to, okay, take it easy, calm down, be old, be like everybody else. Don't get old. Don't get old. The old is the exact opposite of this. Someone who's young is someone whose mind is always trying to run to perceive the infinite light. This infinite light, look at this term. The term he's using now is taken from the Zohar. The Zohar, Parshat Noach, page 65a. This is one of the deepest teachings in the whole Zohar is in this 65a. And Rav Nosson, like Rabbi Nachman, are both quoting from the lesson, the piece of the Zohar. He says, the infinite light, shu lemala minafshin, ruchin, v'nishmatin. This infinite light that I'm trying to pursue always is above the level of the nefesh, above the level of the ruach, above the level of the neshama. The nefesh is called the lower soul, the ruach is the spirit, and the neshama is the upper soul. Nefesh is where a person can get settled in life. The areas of life where he tries to settle in. That was mean nafash means by nafash, to stop and take a break and to take a rest and to fit in. Ruach is where a person has movement, okay, but in the world, in worldly terms, in worldly activities. And neshama is the idea of intellect, okay? All three are used by people to adjust to their accomplishments in this world, okay? And as a Jew, these are the three areas that you need to be a functioning and observant Jew. You need a nefesh, to find your place and to fit in and to do, and then once you're fit in, then you can begin to move. That's a preparation for the ruach. Ruach is now that I can start doing things, and neshama is perceiving things, but all within the parameters of just this world. The infinite light bypasses all three, and for my condition in my life, above status quo, which is considered in this term, in this case, nefesh, ruach, and neshama is called status quo, what everybody's using, it's not enough for me. Let me, Rav Nosson says, let me have the merit, the zchut, that my mind should be pursuing something else totally. Should be pursuing the infinite light, okay? And then he uses this term from a verse from Isaiah. And this verse says it all. V'tasbia betzachtzachot nafshi. This verse is used by the Zohar to express the highest awareness and connection to Hashem possible. It's called the tzachtzachot. In the Likutey Moharan lesson 24, he went into tzachtzachot. Tzachtzachot is a whole chapter, a whole concept in the Kabbalah. Basically, tzachtzachot refers to these lights, which are called supernal lights. The light of the infinite light is called tzachtzachot. Okay? Tzach is one. Tzachot is plural, two. So that's three. Tzach is one. Tzachot is two. So it's 1, 2, 3. To show that this light is above the nefesh, ruach, neshama. Number 2. I know it's a bit deep, but this is really down to earth now, and it comes from this prayer. Tzach tzachot, the Zohar says, means two words which are 180 degrees opposite. The word for Hebrew, for someone who's parched, thirsty, and dried up, is tzacha. Tzacha means someone who's dried, parched, empty, and full of yearning. Water, give me water, I'm dying. Okay? And tzachot also means light. Tzach is something which is pure, shining, glowing. So the Zohar says this word tzachot means both of them. The tzach is the idea of the pure light. Tzachut is the thirst. Meaning what? This is where Rabbi Nachman comes in. That these two are really one. What does that mean? The way to come to this light is you have to express your yearning, your desire. A Jew doesn't express his yearning, won't come to the tzachot. This is going to come out from this prayer. That's unbelievable. We'll get to it hopefully towards the end. Okay? So the verse reads, Isaiah, this is Isaiah, I think, chapter 51, 52. He brings this verse which refers to the reward of tzaddikim in the world to come. Okay, it's also one of the 11 blessings that a person gets when he doesn't give tzedakah, but he tries to appease the person giving tzedakah. The Gemara says, someone who gives to a poor person a coin gets 6 blessings. Someone who doesn't give a coin to the poor person, but gives him chizuk. Hashem is with you, don't give up. If I had money, I would give you, but I don't have what to give you. But you should know that Hashem loves you and you're going to make it in life. Such a person gets 11 blessings. Why? You didn't give money. The guy's starving. He needs money. Give him money. So the guy give him money. He gets only 6 blessings. Why? Because money comes, money goes. Food comes, food goes. Okay. But when you give someone encouragement, that stays for them for life. So he gets 11 blessings. And the chidush is, I pointed out, 11 is the exact number of the fragrances in the Ketoret. In this lesson, Rabbi Nachman says that Ketoret and doing mitzvot of joy are synonymous. The idea of the Ketoret, which we recite every day in davening, that's why you shouldn't skip Ketoret. You shouldn't skip the Ketoret in Shacharit and in Mincha, because Ketoret is a key for doing the mitzvot b'simcha by just saying it. Obviously, you should try to say it with kavana, but the Ketoret is something you shouldn't skip in the siddur. So most people, they start Shacharit, Hodu. Don't skip the Ketoret. The Ketoret is really powerful, okay?
I'm just going to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. I think we should stop here. I didn't even get to the point. I wanted to get to the verse. But we had so much introduction on this prayer.
It's so deep.
It's a lot, but it's penetrating, okay?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to the verse. All this are concepts which he mentions in the lesson. Tasbih b'tzachtzachot nafshi. It's quoting a verse. Let me be satiated b'tzachtzachot nafshi. Please Hashem, satisfy my nefesh with the light of the tzachtzachot. Please Hashem. He's saying that in other words is let me experience the infinite light. Okay, we'll stop here. I wanted to get to this verse. I prepared so much for this verse. I don't know how much time. Do we have time to start it? We just quickly start it. Whatever you have to, whatever. But this is the verse. Rav Nosson throws in this verse. Unbelievable verse from Psalms chapter 29. This is the chapter we say in the month of Elul. And it's a famous verse. Everybody knows this verse. Even you know it. Achat sha'alti me'et Hashem. You know that? Ota avakesh. As a kid, you ever said that before? Maybe. Okay. Every normal Jewish day school kid knows this pasuk. Achat sha'alti me'et Hashem. Ota avakesh. Shivti b'vet Hashem. Kol yimei chayai. Lachazot b'noam Hashem ulvakir b'echalo. I have one request from Hashem It I will request. One question I have of Hashem, and that question I will ask, I will seek. What is it? Shifti, that I sit in the house of Hashem, kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life, lachazot benoam Hashem, to gaze at the pleasantness of Hashem, ulvaker behechalo, and to visit into his chamber. Okay? This verse has many parts. First part, achat shalti met Hashem, I have one question that I ask of Hashem. Number 2, ota avakesh, it I will seek out. Number 3, shifti beveit Hashem kol yemei chayai, that I sit in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. Number 4, lachazot benoam Hashem, that I should gaze at the pleasantness of Hashem. Number 5, ulvaker behechalo. There's so much in this verse, okay? And this verse, these 5 sections, hint to the different parts of this lesson, of this section. Achat sha'alti met Hashem, I have one request of Hashem. One request. One, he teaches, is before Hashem made the creation. Before Hashem made the creation, there was only God. Okay? After the creation, there's many. What's the difference between before creation and after creation? Before creation, it was only Hashem. There was Hashem everywhere. After creation, there's the animals, there's the giraffes, there's the hippopotamus, there's the animals, vegetation, air, water, sky, clouds, fire, sun, moon, mankind. Okay, there's many. So he's saying here, achat sha'alti met Hashem. Hashem, I want one. Achat sha'alti, one. Hashem, I'm aiming at the infinite light. I'm aiming at when you were just one. I'm looking just at you, Hashem. I'm going above all the craziness, all the distractions of this creation, of this world. And I'm just asking from achat. Okay, I'm asking to connect to when you were one. So that's achat sha'alti met Hashem. And then he says, ota avakesh. So now to get to it, I have to be mivakesh. Mivakesh means many things. Mivakesh means that you are searching. And when we say someone is searching, a mivakesh, someone who's searching, he's like begging and petitioning to get to something. So it automatically means that he's searching and yearning. Avakesh is a hint to the idea of yearning. So the verse again, I want achat. Achat shaltim et Hashem. I want the infinite light. I want to connect to Hashem as He's one, before the creation. I want to now connect from now where I am in creation to get to the infinite light, which is another term for before creation. Ota avakesh, to get to it, I have to be mivakesh. I have to now be yearning and yearning. Okay? When that happens, shifti beveit Hashem, I will sit in the house of Hashem. That refers to the Keter, because we said the Keter, I mentioned it earlier, the Keter makes a person settled, stops. You got to sit down. We said the mind is always running and running and running. What the Keter does, is which is when you join your da'at with emunah, is what it does is it causes you to stop. Shifti beveit Hashem. Let me sit in the house of Hashem. What is a house? A house is like a vessel. What's a home? Your person's on the street, a person's at home. When a person's at home, he has like a protection. I have the walls of the house, the walls of my room. I can be relaxed. I can feel at home. Feel at home means I can be loose and not worried about losing things, what people think and everything. Right. I'm very open. That's what the Keter is. The Keter is a wall separating mankind from Hashem. So the house of Hashem, we say, is the wall of the Keter. Because the Keter is what separates Hashem's infinite light from us. It's like a Beit Hashem. So he's saying, Shifti, I should merit that the Keter should force me to stop. Shifti means to sit. Instead of running and running going forward, no, Shifti, in the house of Hashem, Kol Yemei Chayayim. What is it? Why is he saying every day of my life? Because this is the devotion every day. The goal of serving Hashem, of every day of your life, is to connect to the hidden intellect in the day, but then use it to reach that level of being settled in order to perceive the infinite light also shining in every day. He says, Rav Nosson, in his discourse on this lesson in Likutey Tefilot, that davening every day is to get to that. The whole service of Shacharit is you start off with the korbanot in the morning, which is extracting the holiness which is stuck by doing mitzvot b'simcha, and then it goes up and up and up and up until you reach the Shmoneh Esrei, the Amida, which is when it's considered you're one with Hashem, and the finalization is at the last bracha, Sim Shalom. That's when you activate the Keter, and then afterwards Tachanun, you go down, and then down, down, down. Okay, until you're back to where you started, but with the energy that you connected to at the Shmoneh Esrei. That's how life is every day. Every day you start at 0.0, groggy and this and that, and your goal is to get up and up and up, to connect to the light, and then come back down. But now have internalized that light for the day, and just save it for the rest of your life. So that's why he says, Shifti b'veit Hashem kol yemei chayai. Let me sit in the house of Hashem all the days of my life, because every day has a hidden connection, a hidden way to connect to the infinite light in a unique way for today, period. Okay? Then he says, once that happens, once I have the pushing back, but the goal is to sit. In other words, every day you're running to pursue, but shifti means sit, stop. Wait, I have to do this, I have to do Daf Yomi, I have to do my Mishnah, I have to do my Chumash Seder, I have to go shopping for Shabbos, I have to give tzedakah, I have to go to work, I have to change the diapers, I have to speak to my wife. I'm just saying, there's like 5,000 things to do, and you're running, and the goal is shifti, sit. You need in the day also the time to be pushed back, shifti b'et Hashem every day. And then the goal of that, like we said, lachazot benoam Hashem, to perceive the pleasantness of Hashem, which is this light. But then this point I didn't mention to you guys at all. Ulvakir beichalo. He says in the lesson, and it's coming up, that when you're running to go forward, you want to become a better Jew. You're running, and you're happy, and you're enthusiastic, and Hashem has opened the door for you in life. Then the Keter smacks, you collide into the Keter, and the Keter forces you to bounce back. When this bounce back takes place, and you take it in the right way, you don't take it as rejection and dejection and sadness and depression, like we say. You don't take it negative, but you take it as, whoa, what happened? But you accept it with emunah that Hashem did this. When you do that, this bounce back creates 9 chambers. Why 9? Because the brain has 3 parts: chokhmah, bina, da'at. These also correspond to nefesh, ruach, neshama, but it's 3 faculties of the mind: knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And when a person is advancing, it's his intellect that's advancing. So when a person is going forward, what bumps into the Keter is his mind. So the 3 bump in, and because they bump in and then they're forced to go back and to wait, they become intertwined, intermingled. So it becomes 3 times 3. To explain, you have chokhmah of chokhmah, wisdom of wisdom. Then you have chokhmah of bina, wisdom of understanding, and then wisdom of da'at. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Now bina of bina, that's 1. Bina of chokhmah, bina of bina, bina of da'at, that's another 3, that's 6. Then you have da'at of da'at, da'at of chokhmah, da'at of bina, that's another 3, that's 9. Right. Okay? These are the chambers. So he says here, I should only levaker, I should visit the hecha, because he says these chambers, even though you created them, these chambers, by the bounce back, you still can't grasp them, they're above your grasp. So that's why he says, I should visit the hecha, okay? This was a lot. I know it was too much for you guys, especially discovering for the first time. But the Rav Nosson brought this verse, and hidden in this verse, he's explaining the idea of the lesson, is absolutely phenomenal. B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocheh to do the mitzvot b'simcha, and to activate all these ideas, because you're going to need this light in your life. You're going to need achat, the one. Always, from all the balagan in your life, to reconnect to the one, which is the infinite light, and to have it shine, like leak into your life, shining b'ezrat Hashem clarity. B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so we'll stop here. That was a lot, and b'ezrat Hashem.
By the way, sorry if I was yawning a lot. It's not because you're boring. It's because I didn't sleep well on the flight at all. So the tiredness is catching up.